Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar on voice search. Today we'll be talking about the role of this, I think, very trending topic both today and tomorrow. My name's Clark Boyd and I'm a digital marketing consultant. Spent about 8 years working at digital marketing agencies in London and New York. But now I work for myself and spend probably more time than anyone should thinking about voice search, what it really means beyond all of the hype. I think we've all read a lot of articles that offer 10 tips and great takeaways, and maybe left feeling a little unfulfilled with what we found. So I'm setting myself up for a bit of a fall here, but I think I'm going to go beyond that today. I was reading an article a couple of weeks ago, and this seemed quite telling to me. This was Tom Ward, he writes for Wired, and he wrote that the more a user interface is able to replicate how humans interact with the world, the more our interactions with computers will come to feel natural and intuitive. And that seems self-explanatory, but I think there's some subtext there, which is that as it stands, our relationship with computers and with technology is not natural and it's not intuitive. It's a little bit stilted. And the next point around that is that, well, if you were a big technology company, wouldn't you want it to become natural? And I think that gives us a way into understanding this. Where we are today is that, yes, it can be rather stilted, but if you think about the potential benefits for a technology company, for consumers, and for brands, if that was a seamless communication and if it was natural, we can probably see where we're going to go next. So I want to have a quick look at how we learn to communicate. Now, if anyone in this webinar doesn't know all of this stuff, I'll be very surprised. So I will go quickly. We listen to the world around us and then we speak. We read before we can write. And historically, that's true. We've been speaking for many, many thousands more years than we've been reading and writing. But when we think about how we communicate with computers and how we interact with each other online, it's kind of happened in reverse, and not for any good reason other than a technological one. It's been much harder to get a computer to listen and to speak. So we write, so we go to a search engine and we type in our query, we write a Word document, we write an email, and then we read the responses, of course. Over time, we start to speak, at the moment more for actions than for anything else, but we start to speak and then we listen. That's the last stage, isn't it? And I put up this one, actually, would you like to hear a joke? And I hadn't thought it through completely until I was on my way here and I asked Google Assistant to tell me a joke. So yeah, I'm going to lighten the mood very quickly and go through that. This is a Google joke, by the way. What is a pirate's favorite letter? You might think it's R, but actually his first love was the C. I paid Google a compliment on that. I thought it was good. Okay, people here maybe not agreeing. So I'm easily amused. I thought it was great. Slightly different tone. This is from an academic study in 2007. I will say this might come through in some of what I'm saying, and I'll try and keep it beyond the dry details. I did my degree in linguistics, and it's now becoming useful with voice search. 7% of our message is communicated through the words we use. So the exact text, if you were to transcribe what is said, that would be about 7% of the meaning. 93% of that is in the body language, the tone, all of those things. And it seems quite drastic, doesn't it? But if you think about the people you know and how much of their personality comes through in the way that they talk, it starts to make a little bit more sense. At the moment, we're kind of tapping into that 7%, aren't we? We're starting to understand the questions that people are asking of Google Home and Amazon Echo, but we're not really understanding what they mean. And that 93% is where we're going into next. So with that in mind, Google Assistant is now available on over 1 billion devices worldwide. Now, I would advise anyone that's thinking about voice search to keep focused on the Google Assistant and on Amazon Alexa rather than the devices themselves. So we focus quite a lot on, say, the Google Home device, and we think, well, it doesn't have a screen, which really limits what we can do from a marketing perspective. But the aim for someone like Google is actually to be ubiquitous so that the technology fades into the background. You don't really always see it. It's ambient. They use that term quite often, of search being ambient. Always at your disposal, always at your fingertips. And that's where we need to be as marketers, rather than just thinking about these devices. And as we see, over 1 billion devices worldwide now have the Google Assistant installed on them. The question I always ask around that, though, is why? Why is a company as big as Google or Amazon, or you may have seen the new Facebook Assistant coming out and Apple Siri, given that at the moment we're asking them to tell what I think are very funny jokes, That doesn't seem like a big business opportunity, does it? It doesn't make that much sense that the biggest companies and the richest companies the world has ever known are trying very hard to get into our homes. If we're just going to ask them what the weather's like, it doesn't really seem like a great investment. Amazon makes a $20 loss on each Amazon Echo device sold in the US. They're pretty savvy business people, so we need to think about what's going on longer term there. For someone like me that does a lot of these sorts of talks, this sort of thing is catnip to me when I see that Alexa wants to know how you're feeling today. Amazon has patented technology that would allow its devices to read your emotional and physical state and sell advertisements based on them. Are we entering the era of the mood-targeted ad? In isolation, maybe this seems a little bit sensationalist. In other presentations that I've done, I haven't put too much of it in here. I've looked at a lot of different patents that have been filed, at the very least filed by Google and Amazon. And a lot of people would say, well, a patent isn't a product. You know, there are many patents that never see the light of day as real products. But what they do tell you is what they intend on doing, or what they're considering doing, or something they're planning to prototype. And this very much falls into that category. There was a story that went out about Amazon actually, the device changing color based on your mood. So it might try and cheer you up if you weren't in a great mood. And people really didn't like that because it seems a bit creepy. But 5 years ago, it felt creepy to be talking to our phone, even to be carrying a phone with us everywhere. Did feel strange to a lot of people, knowing that we're being tracked, and yet we do still do it. So these behaviors are not set in stone. This is taken directly from the patent that informed that article. We see here the consumer, the user, Alexa, cough, I'm hungry, sniffle. And Alexa asks, well, would you like a recipe for chicken soup? She says, no, thanks. Okay, I can find you something else. By the way, would you like to order cough drops with 1 hour delivery? That would be awesome. Thanks for asking. Probably American, this one. No problem. I'll email you an order confirmation. Feel better. Which is a nice touch. Although it's not that nice when you consider that your cough drops are coming from Amazon's new pill delivery company. Amazon has bought a company that will help to fulfill all of this. And it didn't give you a choice, which means that it will come from wherever is most convenient to them. If you're looking at this as a search marketer and you're thinking, well, if I had voice search data in Search Console, it would make a big difference. It's tricky here, isn't it? Because all that this person has done in terms of the query that you would see is said, I'm hungry. And they've ended up with cough drops. So probably not what they were considering having for dinner that night, but that's what they've ended up with. So if you looked at it from a marketing perspective, it would seem rather strange. So automatically we've sent someone cough drops. The devil is very much in the detail with this, though. If you look at what it has done, it has understood or interpreted an underlying physical intent state. So the person is not well. They haven't said that. They aren't aware that they might be looking for a remedy of some sort. They simply said, I'm hungry. The chicken soup idea comes from understanding they're not well. And then it goes ahead with the cough drops. So what is really what is search about this? I very much see this as being the future of this, where the intermediary, being the search engine or the digital assistant, does a lot of the work on the consumer's behalf. It does a lot of the conversation. It is moving things forward. It's nudging them towards something that they maybe didn't even know that they wanted. But I'm not sure that this counts as voice search, does it? The person isn't searching. They're not even voicing in a classical way what it is that they're looking for. As marketers, all we can do is focus on those states. So if you are working for a company that does work with cough drops, for example, think about how you can serve that information to Amazon and try and compete so that when someone is like this, the information is being served to them. So it moves us away from a very direct relationship between they searched for credit cards and then they clicked on our website and we paid £20 for the click and then they're worth £1,000 to us over the lifetime. Great deal. It becomes much more sophisticated, much more nuanced, harder to measure, harder to look at in a causal chain of events, but also I think a lot more exciting.